7th, 2021, and I'd like to read part of a proclamation by Ronald Reagan issued back in 1986, and then we'll have a moment of silence to honor America's greatest generation. It was a Sunday morning 80 years ago to this date. The Imperial Japanese Navy launched an unprovoked surprise attack upon units of the armed forces of the United States stationed at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. This attack claimed the lives of 2,403 Americans, wounded 1,178 more, and damaged our naval capabilities in the Pacific. Such destruction seared the memory of a generation and galvanized the will of the American people in a fight to maintain our right to freedom without fear. Every honor is appropriate for the courageous Americans who made the supreme sacrifice for our nation at Pearl Harbor and in the many battles that followed in World War II. Their sacrifice was for a cause, not for conquest, for a world that would be safe for future generations, and their devotion must never be forgotten. We honor our dead by solemn ceremony. We do so as well by protecting the nation and the freedom they protected, and by forging the resolve, the strength, and the military preparedness necessary to deter attack and to preserve and build the peace. As President Franklin Roosevelt told our nation that day after Pearl Harbor was attacked, it is our obligation to our dead, it is our sacred obligation to their children and our children that we must never forget what we have learned. We have not forgotten, nor will we. We live in a world made more free, more just, and more peaceful by those who will answer roll call no more, those who will report for muster never again. And we do remember Pearl Harbor. Please recognize a moment of silence. Thank you. I thought it was appropriate that we take just a moment at the beginning of the meeting to honor all those who served, who were the greatest generation, and just to bring it back to a local note, I wanted to recognize Commissioner Kent, who can tell us about his grandfather who was at Pearl Harbor 80 years ago to this day. Commissioner Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. So my grandfather's name is John Troy Counts, and 80 years ago to this day, he was at Pearl Harbor. He was at Hickam Field. He was in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He was a young officer who was learning how to fly B-17s, and he would tell the story about that Sunday morning. They had a big party the night before for the officers. And he said that they totally and completely thought that somebody was practicing on the range, because the first thing you heard were bombs going off. He said the second thing you heard was an announcement that it was an enemy air raid, not a drill. He said that he ran out of his barracks, and when he turned around, he said there was a hole in the ground where he had been sleeping earlier. He said the devastation at Pearl Harbor was a hell that he wishes on no human being. He said they don't tell you this in the history books, but we spent 3 days in the jungle digging trenches because we knew the Japanese were coming to take us over. We since have found out they didn't realize that they would be as successful as they were with that attack. He ended up flying all of his campaigns in the European campaign. But we still have the menu that he sent my grandmother for Christmas dinner at Pearl Harbor. And he bragged about how the U.S. government really spoiled those boys that Christmas with roasted venison and turkey, shrimp and crab legs. He really bragged about that. We tried to get my grandfather to go back for the Pearl Harbor reunion many times, and he said he refused to get on an airplane unless he was flying it. He came back home to Manassas, Virginia. He built a racetrack. He then moved his family down to Ormond Beach, Florida, and he started a shrimping business. He then closed his shrimping business and became Builder of the Year in the mid-1970s. He built many of the little cottages you see up in Ormond by the sea. Laying on his deathbed, he looked at my grandmother and told her at his funeral he wanted to make sure there was everybody's favorite bottle of liquor there because the last drink was on him. To my grandpa, John T. Counts, I say thank you for your service. I say on behalf of our family, we love you. Thanks for remembering Pearl Harbor.
Thank you, Commissioner. At the time Pearl Harbor occurred 80 years ago, the United States was an isolated, quiet, withdrawn nation. That's according to Craig Nelson, who wrote the 2016 book, Pearl Harbor, From Infamy to Greatness. The events of that day, dubbed a date which will live in infamy by then President Franklin D. Roosevelt, launched America's involvement in World War II, beginning decades of growing global U.S. influence. So I thought it was important that we take just a moment to recognize our greatest generation and all the sacrifices that have been made so that we can live in peace even today. And so thank you for your indulgence along those lines. I'll officially call the December 7th, 2021 meeting to order at this time. This is the first regular commission meeting in December, and we are in commission chambers. I hope you felt welcomed when you came in tonight by our fire chief, Rusty Sievers, and also our airport manager, Stephen Licklider. They served as our greeters this evening. And I'd like to introduce the folks who are sitting up in front of you. To my right, your left, is Recording Secretary Taylor Lockhart. Next is City Attorney Randy Hayes. Commissioner from Zone 1, Dwight Selby. Good evening, everybody. Commissioner from Zone 2, Troy Kent.
Good evening, everybody.
To my left and your right, our Deputy Mayor and Zone 3 Commissioner, Susan Persis.
Hi, everybody.
Our Zone 4 Commissioner, Rob Littleton. And down in front, we have City Manager Joyce Shanahan, Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley, and our City Clerk, Susan Dodderis. For those of you listening online, I'm Mayor Bill Partington. At this time, if you would please silence your cell phones and rise for the invocation given by Pastor Cord Bear at Tomoka Christian Church. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
John Maxwell said that a great leader's courage to fulfill his or her vision comes from their passion and not their position. Let's pray. Gracious Father, thank you for blessing us with leaders who are concerned about the welfare of our community. We thank you for giving our governmental leaders wisdom to identify and courageously address concerns that impact our nation and our community. Thank you for blessing their lives. Lord, your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. You rule throughout all generations. You always keep your promises. You're gracious in all that you do. You help the fallen, and you lift those who are bent beneath the loads. The eyes of all who look to you in hope, you give them their food as they need it. When you open your hand, you satisfy the hunger and thirst of every living thing. Lord, we praise and we bless your holy name forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to take a little break and just be a dad for a few minutes, but I'm going to turn the gavel over to Deputy Mayor Persis.
Good evening, everyone. We have a surprise proclamation, and I'd like to invite the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse team and their families to the front arena right up here. So please come right up front. This is such a nice group standing here. I'm very excited to be able to read this proclamation, mainly because I know some of the young people standing here. Faith was my student at Pine Trail Elementary, as was Delaney, so I'm just very proud of you. I'm not surprised that you both went out and did something just amazing, so I just am very proud of you. And, of course, any students, I love recognizing boys and girls, and I love recognizing parents who are raising such fabulous children. So congratulations to all of you. So now I am going to stand here and I'm going to read a proclamation. So here we go. Whereas the Alligator Reef Lighthouse is 4 miles offshore of Islamorado in the Florida Keys. The Swim for Alligator Lighthouse race was born when a world-renowned artist decided to swim alone to the lighthouse and back to shore. He noted that every open water swimmer should experience this. The Fighting Manatee Swim Club of Islamorado accepted the challenge to present a world-class open water swim event, launching the first in 2013. The swim proceeds benefit student scholarships and preservation of the lighthouse, and whereas Seabreeze High School senior Brody Ochippa, there has always been a special attraction to the Alligator Reef Lighthouse. Brody would snorkel the reef around the lighthouse on family trips to the Florida Keys and was fascinated to discover there was a swim race to the lighthouse. He decided that swimming the full 8-mile race alone would be an immense undertaking and recruited an all-Ormond Beach team to join him, including Faith Partington and Delaney Kimball and, Colin Alexander. And whereas Brody has been a swimmer most of his life, participating in the Daytona Beach Speed and Seabreeze High School swim teams, Brody's love of history and preservation led him to the decision to take on this intense open water swim event. Brody is driven and very organized, traits that served him well in planning and executing the team's training, fundraising, and involvement in the event. And whereas Faith, a senior, started swimming as a young child and was a junior lifeguard, she's been drawn to cross-country running through the years and balanced that with swimming, satisfying both her love of nature and the outdoors. Faith's ability to push herself and confront challenges, along with her goals to do whatever possible to preserve the world around her, made her a perfect teammate. And whereas Delaney, a sophomore, was the youngest participant in the entire event and is an expert rower, her skills were critical in the team's quest to complete the swim. Delaney was part of the Swim for Speed team as a child and had recently begun swimming again. Her athletic ability and desire to spend time with her friends made her an integral part of the team. And whereas Colin, currently a freshman at Daytona State College, was on the Seabreeze swim team for all 4 years of high school, making regionals his last 2 years and being awarded most versatile his senior year. Colin was more than happy to participate with his friends in the competition and survive more jellyfish stings than any other team member. And whereas the team trained at 6:30 a.m., 5 days a week at the Ormond Beach YMCA. They relied on fundraisers and donations to assist in paying for all expenses. The team's goal was to swim 1 mile legs, with each of them swimming 1 of the 4 miles to the lighthouse and 1 of the 4 miles back. They rented a tandem kayak and a single kayak that would trail the one person always in the water. The team faced many challenges during the race, including increasing wind gusts, strong currents, and a moon jellyfish swarm. Colin knows about that. They fought every obstacle and finished the race in 6 hours and 48 minutes. All four are proud of the results, and today, the city of Ormond Beach celebrates this incredible achievement with them. Now, therefore, I, Susan Persis, Deputy Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida, on behalf of Bill Partington, Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim December 7th, 2021 as a day to recognize the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse team in the City of Ormond Beach, and urge all residents to join me in congratulating these young athletes on their well-deserved accomplishment of swimming this grueling race in the Florida Keys. Congratulations to all of you. Wow. Let's give these young people a big round of applause. They deserve it. Thank you. And along with their proclamation, they're getting a framed picture of the Observer article that wrote about their achievements and their accomplishments during this amazing swimming event that they did. I mean, it's a long way to swim in an ocean with currents. Amazing. Takes a lot of perseverance and courage. We're so proud of you. Yeah, there you go.
All right, this is the fun part of the meeting, and next, if I could have Officer Courtney Grimes come forward. Officer Grimes, I'll have you hold that, and I will read this proclamation. Now, did Alan and yep, they are here. Good deal. You guys are welcome to come forward too if you want. This is a great story, and it's always awesome when we get to honor our city employees who we're so proud of all the time, but particularly when they go above and beyond, like in this situation. Whereas Officer Courtney Grimes began her journey as a police officer with the City of Ormond Beach on June 30th, 2021. Officer Grimes was born and raised in Daytona Beach, is a graduate of Mainland High School, Buck Pride never dies, and has been a resident of Ormond Beach for a number of years. She is the first person in her family to become a police officer, recently graduating from the academy as part of class number 93. Officer Grimes received the Doing Something Good Award in August when a citizen commended her positive influence in the community. And whereas on October 24th, 2021, Officer Grimes was enjoying a day off, she noticed a post on social media from a friend and former Taekwondo student, I probably pronounced that wrong, Miss Jody Rosen, who needed assistance. Miss Rosen had blown a tire while traveling south on I-95 and was stuck on the side of the interstate. Ms. Rosen contacted roadside assistance, but was informed that it could take hours for them to arrive at the scene, and it was starting to get dark outside. Ms. Rosen took to social media in the hopes that someone would sit with her while she waited for their arrival. And whereas Officer Grimes responded to Ms. Rosen's post inquiring if the service had arrived yet, Mrs. Rosen indicated that she was still waiting, and Officer Grimes jumped into action. Officer Grimes and her father located Mrs. Rosen on I-95 and changed her tire before the service arrived. Mrs. Rosen and her husband are extremely appreciative of Officer Grimes' actions and commend her dedication to protect and serve the Ormond Beach community above and beyond her regular duties. Whereas the extraordinary act of kindness and selfless display of compassion by Officer Grimes to a friend and former citizen in crisis are what make us all proud. Now, therefore, I, Bill Partington, on behalf of the entire Ormond Beach City Commission of Ormond Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim December 8th, 2021 as a day to recognize Officer Courtney Grimes in the city of Ormond Beach and invite all citizens to join me this day in paying tribute to our heroic officer for her outstanding display of kindness and compassion in assisting the public. Congratulations. We move on to audience remarks, and we start tonight with Travis Sargent.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Travis Sargent, 406 North Beach. 56 North Beach Street looks really great now that the dilapidated building's down. Just wondering what the next step is and if we can have community involvement to see what goes there next. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Next is Sean Anderson. No?
I don't see him.
Did he just step outside? We'll call him at the end in case he comes back in. Jim Schultz.
Jim Schultz, 117 Harvard Drive. You know, Fauci's been around for a long time, sometimes too long. What happens when they become more a captured person, more owned or controlled by Big Pharma or Department of Defense? Actually, he's the highest paid official in our federal government. makes more than the president, $437,000. And for every patent he has, he can receive another $150,000 a year. And often when he's involved in the process, he gets that too. So he's on a lot of patents. Well, the reality is 68% of his salary actually comes from the Department of Defense, where he's actively involved in bioterrorism development. Sounds a little familiar to what we might be dealing with now. But again, why have conjecture when he can speak so eloquently for himself, as he has in debates, where I'm Mr. Science. People can't question my science, so they question me because I'm a physical thing there. How pompous. What a... I won't say that. But he's worse than that. For AZT, oh, what's that? That was his first really big drug that he developed with the industry. It was a $10,000 treatment for AIDS. Was it effective? Not nearly. It was only effective at killing people. Actually, there were about 300,000, not 3,000, not 30,000, 300,000 deaths associated with it. And the way they got it to be used was he incited lots of fear. There was a baby who had gotten AIDS, and he implied that it was because of contact with the mother. It was actually because she had gotten it at birth. But that took off the whole rage, and pretty soon they were selling AZT like hotcakes. Unfortunately, there was a predominantly deaths associated with it, but at $10,000 a pop, it set records for, profits. So anyways, right now we have ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. Actually, Trump made an executive action to make sure that hydroxychloroquine could be used because it was safe and effective. It was overruled by the CDC.
Thank you, Jim. Did Sean Anderson come back in? Sean?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sean Anderson. I'm a new resident of the community. And it's been a little bit shocking to me, some of the things that these men and women have to deal with. And it's time we find ways between the community and these men and women to find a solution to the problem. I thought my position and the way I was handling myself was the way to go. After talking with Sergeant Garner, I believe that's his name, I found out there's other issues going on within the city. We're having issues at the school, Tomoka Elementary. The street that we need an officer on is called Brookwood Drive, and it's at the corner of Old Tomoka Road and Brookwood Drive. I have a video and I have photographs of what parents are doing in their vehicles, and they're putting other children at risk. That was my first reason to come. My second reason to come was they're also dealing with other problems where other civilians are dialing 911 and exaggerating truths, which is a lie, telling lies, and putting these officers and this captain and the other two lieutenants that I've spoken with in a different state of mind, which is not fair to the civilian population, which isn't fair to me because it happened to me. And not understanding the perspective of the other side and only looking at it from my side, I was angry, which caused more of a problem for these officers. So, I've done some research about our city that I now am a part of and I am a member of. And I believe a woman by the name of Shirley Chisholm moved here, and she died here. So that for me, That says something, that I ended up somewhere for someone that I looked up to as a child. So for her not to leave, obviously there's got to be something good here. And as I spoke to the chief before I spoke to all of you, there's a disconnect between this department and some of the residents. We've got to figure out a way to bridge that gap. We've got to figure out a way that when they go on calls, that if they have to go on a call and a situation arises and something happens, that the caller is liable for that, not them. They're just trying to do their jobs. I hope you understand where I'm going. Rob Littleton knows how to get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to speak with all of you if I get the okay from these men and women, because it's them that's protecting all of us.
Thank you. Julia Truilla. Good evening. Thank you.
Julia Truillo, 307 John Anderson Drive. I'm here tonight to invite you all to join us Friday evening, not that anybody has any free time over the next 10 days, but Friday evening, the Ormond Beach Arts District is helping sponsor the first Ormond Beach Art Battle. Art Battle is a painting competition. It's a national competition. So this round will be number 1 on the stop for these artists. They paint in 20-minute sections, and then the audience votes. So it's a fun evening. And then the winner goes on to the regional and on to the national competitions. It'll be over in Frame of Mind starting at 6 p.m. on Friday evening. And of course, we want to invite everybody to join us on Saturday evening here in downtown for hot chocolate and the tree lighting at 6 o'clock, and then the parade.
Thank you, Susan. I don't know MC Matt, the young Professor Grafer, or DJ Jukebox Bully, but I do know the Mistress of Ceremony, Thais Franca, and so it should be a fun night. And I'm proud of our burgeoning arts district here in the city, and you have a lot to do with that, Julia, so thank you. The minutes have been sent to the Commission for review, posted to the city's website. These are the minutes from the City Commission meeting of November 16th, 2021. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Approval of minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and we'll show those passing unanimously. The consent agenda action proposed is stated for each item on the agenda. Unless a commissioner removes an item, there will not be discussion on individual items. Single motion will approve the consent agenda. Does any member of the commission wish to pull any items?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And would anyone like to comment on any of the consent agenda items?
Mayor, I would.
Commissioner Selby.
We, just for the benefit of the public, I just want you to know that tonight we're buying 5 vehicles for $161,000, which, you know, on the surface sounds like a lot of money. It's part of our capital improvement plan, and but I think the thing that, you know, sometimes I drive around and I go, man, they're driving around in these brand new trucks, you know. And it was a couple of years, not too many years ago, that I was driving a 15-year-old truck myself, right? And however, we have the city of Ormond Beach, basically the old vehicles are almost always at least 10 years old. We drive these things till the wheels fall off of them. I'm serious about that, because I drill down on this stuff. They give us a complete write-up on every vehicle that they're getting rid of and the new one that it's replacing. So you can be very proud of your city. They're very frugal. They drive vehicles till they're almost you almost can't drive them anymore, and then they replace them. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you to staff for doing that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? If not, we'll move to public hearings. I will open the public hearings, and we'll start with 8A.
Ordinance number 2021-39, an ordinance amending paragraph C, official zoning map of section 2-01, established of Article 1, establishment of zoning districts, and official zoning map of Chapter 2, district and general regulations of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code by amending the official zoning map to rezone a certain parcel of real property totaling approximately 2.94 acres located at 295 Interchange Boulevard, Volusia County, parcel number 4125-09-00-0070 from B-7 Highway Tourist Commercial with a planned business development PBD overlay to PBD planned business development, authorizing revisions of official zoning map, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-39, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8B.
Ordinance number 2021-40, an ordinance authorizing the execution and issuance of a development order for a planned business development to be located at 295 Interchange Boulevard, to be known as All Aboard Storage Interchange Depot, authorizing the construction of a 3-story climate-controlled storage facility consisting of approximately 111,825 square feet with approximately 600 storage units, authorizing the use of the Institute of Traffic Engineers ITE parking generation requirements, 2 signs totaling 200 square feet, and the relocation of landscaping abutting the building to the site, establishing conditions and expirations of approval and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-40, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards on 8B.
I'll move approval, Mayor, of ordinance 2021-40.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8C.
Ordinance number 2021-41, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida by adding Chapter 18, Public Arts Program in the Downtown Overlay District, Section 18-1, Legislative Findings, Purpose, Location, General Requirements, Section 18-2, Definitions, Section 18-3, Approval Process, Section 18-4, Review and Approval Criteria, and Section 18-5, Ownership of Public Art, establishing a public art program in the Downtown Overlay District, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-41, read by title only.
I don't have any cards on 8C.
I move approval of ordinance number 2021-41.
Who wants to say?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion?
I still have the same concerns, so my vote will be the same.
Thank you, Commissioner Littleton. And Randy, did you want to?
Yes, sir. So we are proposing some slight amendments to the ordinance on second reading, as outlined in the handout that's was placed on the dais. So if somebody would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance by accepting the highlighted provisions as shown in this ordinance, then you can call vote on it. You can get a second to that amendment as well.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you for getting those to us ahead of time so we had the opportunity to look them over. Is there a motion and second to adopt the changes that Randy worked out with Main Street?
I move approval of ordinance number 2021-41 with the changes that are highlighted in yellow.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
No.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. Is that good, Randy, or did you need anything else?
That's perfect. Motion included the amendments, so we're good.
Great. Thank you. 8D.
Ordinance number 2021-42, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 6, Boards, Commissions, Committees, and Other Agencies, Division 2, enumerated of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida, by adding a new section to the numbered entitled Section 2-230, Ormond Beach Art District Board, establishing powers and duties and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-42, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards on
Move approval.
D.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
No.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8F. E? 8E. Thank you.
Ordinance number 2021-43, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a second amended interlocal service boundary agreement between the City of Ormond Beach and County of Volusia, Florida, regarding the North US 1 Joint Planning and Municipal Service Area, providing for recordation and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-43, read by title only.
I don't have any cards for 8E.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. Now 8F.
Resolution number 2021-204, a resolution authorizing the execution and issuance of a development order for a special exception to allow an outdoor activity of live outdoor music under certain conditions associated with the Ormond Garage located at 48 West Granada Boulevard within the B4 Central Business Zoning District, establishing conditions and expiration date of approval and setting forth an effective date. This is resolution number 2021-204, read by title only.
Thank you, Susan. And I'll ask our planning director, Stephen Spraker, to speak on 8F.
Good evening, Stephen Spraker, planning director. This is a request for a special exception within the B4 zoning district. The request is for the outdoor activity, which includes live outdoor music. It is allowed through the special exception, which requires this public hearing process. The applicant is seeking to do live outdoor music Sunday through Thursday from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. with no more than 3 live performers. The location is actually just behind City Hall, fronting on both Granada Boulevard and Corbin. The outdoor music area is located on the Corbin frontage. There was a neighborhood meeting that was done on October 13th. The purpose of the neighborhood meeting is to provide a sample of what the outdoor live music would be. In this case, it really helped. We were able to have the performance orient towards the building and not towards Corbin. So basically the music is going into the building versus into the parking lot and across the way to the residential condominium. As part of the process, our neighborhood improvements did a sound test. It's very useful to do these tests to see what the range is. It is for this moment in time. The issue with outdoor music is with any night someone can turn up the volume and now you have code enforcement issues. And based on that, the conditions recommended by staff include a condition, we call it the river girl provision. So if you violate the terms of your approval, the hours, the loudness, if you violate it twice within any one calendar year, you lose the ability to do a special exception forever. We went back to the 7 current special exceptions that allow outdoor music over a 2-year period. None of them have had a formal code enforcement action. One, Demetrius has had a couple calls, but they were not substantiated and didn't proceed to code enforcement. The second condition that staff is recommending is the orientation of the stage facing the building. As part of the planning board process, we received communication from Riverbridge Condominium, which is located almost 600 feet from the outdoor music. There were 4 individuals who spoke at the planning board expressing concerns, quality of life impacts. My understanding is at least one person from Riverbridge Condominium was able to talk to the applicant, had some assurances that they could always call them if there was issues, so they may or may not be here tonight. The planning board did recommend approval, 7-0. The site plan review committee also recommends approval. If approved, they would need to abide by the conditions, or if they violate it, they're an ability to revoke it. Both the applicant and the property owner are here to address the commission.
Thank you, Stephen. I don't have any cards. Just need a motion and a second for
Mayor,
discussion.
I'll move Ordinance 2021-204.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Kent.
Yeah, this makes sense. I'm happy for the applicant. I just have one question that is jumping out at me, being a lifelong educator. It's so close to Ormond Elementary, and school goes on until 2:30 p.m. Elementary school used to end the day at 2, but now it's 2:30. Did we hear anything from the school about, Monday through Thursday, 2 o'clock? Of course, it makes sense that the speakers are going to face towards the restaurant and towards Granada and all of that, but I know because I'm an administrator in an elementary school right now, and our kids are working right up until 2:30. So I just didn't know if that would be a concern, something this commission may want to talk about a little bit, and we may want to adjust the time to 2:30 p.m. because that's when the school day ends.
Deputy Mayor Persis.
Thank you, Commissioner Kent, because that was my concern as well. Being so close to that school, I think the kids' curriculum in elementary school is rigorous right till the end of the day. There's really no coloring and playing kitchen or playing games at the end of the day. So they really do work hard. So I would just ask that maybe they could start at 2:30. I think that would be absolutely fine. I too am excited about this and think it's a great thing for the Ormond Garage.
Sure.
Sure.
I currently am operating another special exception at a restaurant across the street. Admittedly, there was a little bit of copying and pasting that was being done from the previous application. It doesn't make any business sense or personal sense or sense for the school for us to be doing live music at that hour. So I have no issue with changing that, especially on weekdays. Last thing I want to do is upset an elementary school. We try to partner closely with them, so I have no issue with changing that. I don't foresee us ever wanting to do music on a weekday unless it were to be a holiday or something when the school's not in. It makes no business sense for us to ever do business or have live music outside probably before 5 p.m. in all reality. So if that helps at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only weekends, obviously, there's no school. That's the only time we'd be doing a daytime event over there. Thank you.
So Commissioner Kent made a motion to amend, is what I heard, from 2:30.
Yeah, I will. I'll make that motion to amend that Monday through Friday, 2:30, the earliest it can start.
And I think I heard Deputy Mayor Persis second that. Okay.
Yes.
I wonder if it would be, how about school hours, during school hours? I mean, in other words,
if it changes again down the road.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes to 3 o'clock or something like that.
That actually is a good idea. So I'm going to withdraw my amended motion. Are you going to withdraw your second?
And I withdraw my second.
And my new amended motion, thank you, Commissioner Selby, will just state that the live music will not begin until school hours
end.
That works. And
I second that.
And just to be clear on that, that doesn't mean like the extended day program. It just means the actual when school ends, because that ends at 5, 6 p.m. and that's not what we're talking about here.
Good deal. Please call the vote on the amendment.
Commissioner Kent?
Yes.
Commissioner Persis?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Selby?
Yes.
Mayor Partington?
Yes, and please, unless there's any other discussion, call the vote on 8F as amended.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And we will close the public hearings. Move to 9A, discussion of the second meeting in March 2022.
This is discussion and direction item titled Discussion of City Commission Second Meeting in March 2022.
Hello.
City
Joyce
Manager.
Shanahan, City Manager. Traditionally, you have mirrored your commission schedule to coordinate with the school calendar, and so staff is suggesting that you would move your second meeting in March to the 22nd. Is that right? So that's what we're suggesting.
Anybody have a problem or conflict with that? Commissioner Kent?
No, I think it's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Do you need a vote? I think everybody agrees with that. Yeah, it is the consensus. So you'll bring that back to us with the calendar for next year? Great. 2022, yep.
Yeah, so that just has to be changed. Yeah.
Now we are on reports, suggestions, requests, and we start with City Manager Joyce Shanahan.
You know that we just completed our civic engagement program for the OB Life Westward Focus. Your department head staff worked really hard putting that together. They did an amazing job. We had about 100 people in person for the first meeting and about 600 views online for the videos. The second meeting was not as well attended, about 200 people, 20 people in person, 25, and about 105 views online with that. The best thing about that is they can review those videos at any time that they want. We have answered, I don't know, maybe close to 100 questions from the first meeting, and we're working on the set of questions for the second meeting. So I think your citizens really appreciated having that opportunity to provide some feedback on what they feel is important to them, and we will put together a report for the commission and then seek guidance from you about how we should direct those advocacy efforts with the City of Daytona Beach and Volusia County. As you know, that we have a SHADE meeting on January 4th. That's your first meeting of the year. The SHADE is a workshop. It'll start at 5:30, and we will be talking about collective bargaining issues. You've heard from each of your 3 unions about those issues, and staff is working hard, crunching numbers and looking at issues, and we'll present some of that information to you so we can get some direction as we begin that process. And last of all, but certainly not least, the Cookie Fairy did not disappear this year. She just got a little delayed, so you'll have cookies hopefully by the end of the week. I wish you all a wonderful holiday and tell you that your staff works really hard every year. They're really excited about the Christmas parade. I just got confirmation from Robert that we will have 5 Chevrolets from the New Smyrna Beach dealership. 3 of those will be extended beds. I don't know my...
Cabs.
Well, hold on. There'll be extended beds, and they will have 4 doors in the cab. So if that means something to you, for those of you that need extra room, then please be advised. Do you have any questions for me? Okay.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley.
Try it over here. I think that sounds okay. I just wanted to take a minute to congratulate a couple of employees that are being recognized by the Volusia League of Cities. Mr. Tom Griffith is being recognized as the Community Planning and Development Employee of the Year for his, he's in the role of the Chief Building Official for the city. And Officer Danielle Henderson is being recognized as the Public Safety Employee of the Year. And I just wanted to read a couple of, I love reading the descriptions of their supervisors write up because It just sounds just exactly like who they are. So I thought I would just read a couple of phrases from those descriptions. Tom Griffith, I'm the chief building official since 2015. He's been with the city since 2003. Under his direction, the department processes over 6,000 permits and 20,000 inspections per year. They work very hard. He consistently provides sound judgment, innovative ideas, and demonstrates the utmost integrity in his work. And that sentence, it just truly captures Tom. A couple of other key things that jumped out at me. He's a positive influence through his demeanor and professionalism. He is a problem solver. And this is my favorite. He utilizes a gentle but firm approach. You can tell he works with Steven Spraker. And he has not found a problem he cannot solve. Officer Danielle Henderson had recently worked as a detective in the criminal investigation unit for 5 years. She worked on some of the most sensitive cases involving sex crimes and juvenile victims. She now, luckily, works as a field training officer and is able to influence the new officers that join our agency. Just in the past year, Officer Henderson has received 6 different thank you letters, both from residents, as well as a judge and an attorney. She does incredible work and has a superior work ethic. So I just congratulate them, and they are certainly an example of so many great employees that we have here at the city. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney Randy Hayes.
Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, Randy. And tonight we start with Commissioner Selby.
I thought it might be me. Thank you, Mayor. I attended the entire both of the recent OB Lives on Avalon Daytona, and just wanted to say that I think the staff, they did an excellent job under really, somewhat stressful conditions, because the developer and several of his staff were there in the room. They didn't participate, they were just observing. Actually, I was sitting right near them in the same area. And yet the staff, our city staff, the various department heads and so forth, made their presentations in a very professional way, very thorough way, and a very fair way. And I just think it was an excellent representation of our city as it was brought out. Obviously, it's a public meeting with the media there and people, of course, listening online as well as participating in the room. So I just wanted to say, thank you and congratulations, because it was incredibly well done. Also, I just wanted to comment on these our city employees here, Mr. Griffith. I've known him for years, and he really is great. Contractors love him. It's not uncommon that chief building officials are not well liked by the industry, because they're, it's like their head only goes, like one way, like this. No. And that's not the attitude in Ormond Beach. So that's really great. And Officer Henderson. Getting 6 thank you letters in 1 year, that's amazing, so imagine all the other people that feel the same way but didn't take the time to write a letter. I'm sure those are not a rare thing. So with that, thank you to all of our hardworking employees in the city, and with that I'll say good night and Merry Christmas. I guess we're in the middle of Hanukkah right now. Happy Hanukkah for those who celebrate that, and however else you celebrate the holidays. And I'll see you next year, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ken.
Thank you. First, I just quickly want to say, he's not here anymore, but I always appreciate hearing what Jim Schultz has to say. He comes up and I never know what he's going to talk about, and it's his point of view, and it just goes to show how important that 3 minutes we give our residents to let them speak their mind on anything they want to share. That being said, there is no doubt in my mind that this is the best city in our nation. And Ormond Beach does it right with just about everything. I come in tonight and we've got Elf on the Shelf in here. What's his name, Joyce? Obi. Oh, of course, yeah, of course. I should have remembered that from all the years past, but I didn't. I was worried about the one that we had at our house, that we had his name. But from the elf on the shelf to the lit up Christmas trees out in the Halifax River on all four corners of the bridge, which, if my memory is right, have been there since 1980. And I was a 5-year-old child, and I have known them my entire life. And as my family, my small family, we were coming over the bridge last night, I reminded Wyatt yet again about the importance of those, and that hopefully they'll continue to be there through his entire life if he decides to stay in the city of Ormond Beach, which of course he should. We have on Friday, if you're looking for another wholesome event to participate in, we have movies on the Halifax. The movie is The Grinch, and it's a great activity to bring your family out, your kids, your grandkids, and enjoy a movie under the stars at Rockefeller Gardens. You won't be disappointed. Our Christmas parade is Saturday, and I am so glad that is back and up and running and in action. And Joyce is making sure she's securing trucks here at the 11th hour of our last meeting of the year. Thank you for that. And my last piece about the great things we do is, where's Chief Godfrey? Is he still here? Chief, so I told Ms. Shanahan at the end of our workshop today, I said, it's just not sitting well with me. We have always, for many years, had the police officer Christmas lights, the 2 officers or 3 officers you have standing up there, and something happened to them a couple of years ago. They died out. The lights went bad. But I told Ms. Shanahan, I said, please get with the chief and do what you all have to do to find them, because, and it was interesting when I was telling Ms. Shanahan that, our assistant city manager jumped in and said her daughter and her have loved them, and they would bump fists every time they went by them and had their little thing that they did about the Keystone Cops. And it's just another one of those little things, sort of like the Christmas trees out on the Halifax, that some of us really appreciate and like. So if you can find them, Chief, find them. And Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you, Commissioner. Deputy Mayor Persis.
Good evening again, everyone. I am just very happy to tell you that I cannot wait to participate in this parade. I know Joyce Shanahan started me asking about the trucks, but my family is so excited to participate too, and it's just a great event for our city, and we missed it 1 year, so I'm so happy that we're going to do it again. And my husband actually went out and bought, I don't know how much he spent on more candy so that we could throw out. So it's going to be a fun night. So look out for our truck because we're going to have a lot of candy. But thank you for arranging all of that. It's just wonderful. I had the opportunity to attend the DARE graduation at Pine Trail Elementary, where I used to be the principal. I got to watch 5th graders get their certificates, and they always choose 5 kids, or one student from each class that gets to read a DARE essay. They choose the one they thought was best, and Captain Bruce was there too. It was just a fun time, and the things that they have learned through the DARE class about bullying and drugs and just treating people the right way are just absolutely incredible. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank Chief for continuing that. It's amazing. It really, really does help our students. So I really enjoy participating in that. And I did give them all a little key to the city. And I don't think you were still there, but I said Chief Godfrey always says when he swears in an officer to the Ormond Beach Police Department, he says, "Don't tarnish the badge." So I kind of copied that, and I said, "Don't tarnish this key to the city." I said, "You make sure you represent your city well in actions and words." So I did kind of copy from you. I wanted to tell you that. And I also wanted just to say I'm just so impressed with Ormond Beach staff, and everybody that I have ever dealt with has been polite, helpful, just absolutely friendly all the time. It makes our city just look as good as it really is, we do have a fabulous city. It's incredible, and the way this city is run is just beyond compare. So I just want to thank everybody in the city of Ormond Beach for all they do for everyone. It really is outstanding. And I just hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. Please stay safe and enjoy your loved ones and enjoy whatever it is that you do during the holidays. And please stay safe, and we'll see you in 2022.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Commissioner Littleton.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week I attended the American City County Exchange Conference, and I want to thank this commission and, of course, the taxpayers of Ormond Beach for allowing me to go to that. I always go to that thing and try to come back with model policy that we could implement here, but as Commissioner Kent pointed out, this is one of the best-run cities in America, and you should hear the horror stories that come out of other cities across the nation. It's very hard to do that, and one of the best things we got is the OB Life meetings. I heard about how good staff acted all the way in San Diego, and of course it was 6 a.m. when I was getting text messages over there, so they were waking me up to tell me how good staff was doing. And I very much appreciate everything staff does to make the city run very well. With that, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I'll see you all at the parade.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we're all looking forward to that. Next Saturday is the parade, and I'm excited that it's back as well, back live in person. And it's a nighttime parade, which is, I think, one of the better ways to do it. I think our community is going to come out big for that as well. Commissioner Selby, you were absolutely right about the OB Life series. Bless you. It was very well done, and staff had some awkward moments, I guess, with the developer in the room, but Biat Kali showed up for both of those series. He didn't have to. It's not particularly an easy drive from Avalon, Orlando to Ormond Beach, but he has a million other things he could be doing, and he took the time to come and to listen, so I'm hopeful he'll continue to work with us as we try to find ways to lessen the impacts and put quality development practices in place as Avalon Daytona moves forward down there in Daytona Beach. Certainly happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. It's a wonderful time of the year, and as we come out of the pandemic and try to return to normal, I would just ask folks to be thoughtful, be kind, and enjoy the season, because it is a wonderful time of year. Obi loves the holidays, and he got me tonight. I didn't know he was going to decorate my seat up here at the dais, but he can be a little mischievous. I don't think people realize, but once in a while he'll get you. And so I got a smile out of it. I talked to some of the folks in the audience this evening. They enjoyed it, and he's been a great addition to the holiday season, so thank you for that. Our fire department, I wanted to give a shout out to the men and women of our fire department. They've been out and about showing off their new trucks, and not only do they do a wonderful job at it, but our residents love it. Young and old alike love seeing the vehicles, love having all the tools that are on them explained to them, hearing about the process of how they were constructed from the ground up with our men and women firefighters giving their input as to how they would be put together. And so, you see them around town. They're just beautiful vehicles, and they give our men and women the tools they need to do a great job. And so, Chief, thank you for getting those out there. I happened to be a couple weeks ago at a Boy Scout troop, and the driver, engineer, I guess, who was giving the presentation had been a Boy Scout leader, so he was perfect for the event, and everybody loved it. And I got a couple of nice thank you cards from that, which I'll try to get to you. Our police department continues to do an amazing job. Chief Godfrey, thank you for that. Just this past weekend, there was the annual Shop with a Cop event, and if you saw the Observer's coverage of that, it's amazing. It's amazing what those officers do, volunteering their own time to come out and work with those kids. And Chief, the interview with you was perfect in the Observer. I thought your comments were incredible, and just thank you to everybody for being involved in that. And then, gosh, I guess just today, the police department received a really incredibly generous donation from Dr. Caesar DePaco, who's the founder and CEO of Summit Nutritionals, for the purchase and training of a new canine to replace our recently departed canine Kane. And there's a Facebook post about that. I think that's incredible. It's wonderful. And so thank you to Dr. DePaco. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's just a tremendous gift to the city, and I know will serve our officers and all our residents well, so we're grateful for that. And with that, we will say good night. Thank you all for being here. We're adjourned.